Da. Bună ziua, doamnelor și domnilor! Eu sunt Hugo Neumorni și sunt președintele Asociației Directorilor de IT și Comunicații, pe scurt CIO Council. Vă rog să-mi permiteți ca în numele boardului asociației și numele membrilor asociației CIO Council, prezenți în număr destul de mare astăzi, să vă mulțumesc pentru prezența noastră astăzi alături de noi la, cred, cea de-a 11-a, și nu cred sigur, la cea de-a 11-a ediție a evenimentului nostru anual. Eveniment care, ca de obicei, se bucură de o foarte mare popularitate. Avem, dacă nu mă înșel, peste 420 de colegi care s-au înscris, profesioniști IT. Ne cerem scuze pentru că nu am reușit să îi aducem pe toți aici, dat fiind că avem o capacitate limitată. Mulțumim foarte mult Băncii Naționale a României pentru faptul că ne-au facilitat prezența astăzi în cadrul Palatului BNR. Este o onoare și un privilegiu să fim astăzi aici, într-un loc atât de încărcat de istorie. Astăzi, tema evenimentului de astăzi este Regina Balului, este inteligența artificială sau artificial intelligence. O temă pe care trebuie să mărturisesc și încerc să aduc aminte fanilor CIO Council că asociația a abordat-o chiar acum 4 ani de zile, tot în cadrul evenimentului nostru anual. Și cine își aduce aminte, în 2019 vorbeam despre transformarea digitală prin inteligența artificială, ceea ce pentru mine înseamnă că membrii asociației, dar și partenerii noștri, am fost puțin vizionari, aș putea să spun, fără să exagerez prea mult. Bun, câteva conotații. Trăim o perioadă foarte complexă, foarte volatilă, tensionată, aș putea spune, din multe puncte de vedere. Dacă ne gândim la componenta geopolitică, avem, iată, de peste un an de zile, de peste un an și jumătate, un război extrem de agresiv și injust, care se petrece în estul Europei. Sunt mai puțin de 3 săptămâni de când, iată, un alt conflict major a erupt și un conflict care durează teoretic de peste 75 de ani și pe care cumva societatea nu a reușit să-l rezolve. A erupt extrem de puternic și toate aceste chestiuni pun o anumită presiune pe companii, pe mediul economic, până la urmă. Există, dacă ne gândim foarte recent, și problematica din Azerbaidjan, problematica din Kosovo, apar deja foarte multe focare de conflict. În plan economic există deja de peste un an de zile o situație, n-aș spune și mai tensionată, dar în orice caz extrem de presantă. Aș spune că epoca banilor ieftini, nu o spun eu, o spun specialiștii, este istorie, este long gone. Perioada când puteam să ne împrumutăm cu dobândă aproape de zero a cam dispărut. Iar toate chestiunile astea pun o presiune extrem de mare pe companii. În fiecare zi așteptăm indicatorii macroeconomici din Statele Unite, din Europa, ca să vedem dacă intrăm sau nu în recesiune. Unii au intrat, Germania, alții stau pe aproape. Ce înseamnă asta pentru noi ca directori IT și pentru noi ca și companii? Înseamnă foarte multă presiune pe costuri, înseamnă foarte multă presiune pe reducerea sau optimizarea, aș spune mai degrabă, nu neapărat reducerea costurilor, a proceselor operaționale. Există însă și vești foarte bune, iar veștile vin din zona de tehnologie, din zona inteligenței artificiale. Există, iată, o efervescență extraordinară în mediul de business, apropo de inteligența artificială, de acum aproape un an de zile de când ChatGPT și, mă rog, nu numai ChatGPT, dar ChatGPT a creat o emulație extrem de mare în rândul utilizatorilor de retail, haideți să spunem așa, în rândul absolut, inclusiv a executivilor. Mi-aduc aminte foarte rar de o situație atât de efervescentă în ceea ce privește tehnologia, în care executivii să vină și să propună proiecte la nivelul departamentelor IT privind implementarea de proiecte pe bază de inteligență artificială. Cel puțin acesta este feedback-ul pe care eu și colegii noștri îl resimțim. Putem spune fără să greșim că avem parte de o așa numită revoluție AI. Sunt specialiști care prezic faptul că ne aflăm într-un moment de cotitură, într-un moment în care efectele implementării inteligenței artificiale vor fi mai mari, adopției noilor tehnologii vor fi mai mari decât apariția internetului în planul de business. Așa că astăzi vom vorbi și vom avea șansa alături de colegii noștri de la CIO Council și alături de partenerii noștri să discutăm la modul concret despre soluții, despre implementarea inteligenței artificiale, despre transformarea digitală prin AI. Avem 3 sesiuni. Prima este o sesiune ușor, să spunem așa, de trenduri și de tehnologie, în care vom vedea mai mult în plan teoretic. Urmează partea de cyber security. Cyber security este, cel puțin așa o arată specialiștii, în continuare o problemă extrem de importantă pentru departamentele IT. Veți vedea, vom vorbi și despre directiva NIS 2, directivă care practic obligă în termeni reali companiile să crească costurile cu securitatea cibernetică. Se estimează, undeva am văzut un raport al lui EY, între 15% pentru cei care au fost deja afectați sau, acoperiți de NIS 1, până la 25% pentru companiile care trebuie sau care intră sub acoperirea NIS 2. Îl vom avea și pe domnul Bogdan un pic mai încolo. Și vom închide cu o sesiune în partea a doua a zilei de inteligență artificială aplicată. Vreau să mulțumesc, înainte de a merge mai departe, vreau să mulțumesc partenerilor noștri și trebuie să-i citesc pentru asta. Avem, practic, mulțumim foarte mult, supporting partners Dell Technology, Intel, Amazon Web Services, partenerii Google Cloud, DataNet System, Ernst & Young România, OMV Petron, NNDKP, PowerNet, SolarWinds, Mazars, Eviden, Deloitte România, Networking Partners, Fort, True, Cloud Consulting România și Organizing Partners, Translation Partner Traduce.re. Desigur, ISACA România, o comunitate care este foarte apropiată CIO Council și îi mulțumesc Grațielei Magdalenoi pe această cale. Asociația Patronale a Industriei de Software și Servicii ANIS, PWN România și, nu în ultimul rând, desigur, Revistei Cariere pentru organizarea acestui eveniment. Bun, pentru că, așa cum v-am obișnuit, aducem alături de noi CIO Council și partenerii din mediul public, parteneri pentru care cărora încercăm să le dăm și sprijinul nostru al asociației. Îl avem alături de noi pe domnul secretar de stat, domnul Bogdan Dumea, secretar de stat în cadrul Ministerului Cercetării, Inovării și Digitalizării. Bine ați venit, domnul Bogdan.
Este mult mai înalt, domnul Hugo, decât mine. Doamnelor și domnilor, bună dimineața și vă mulțumesc frumos că sunteți astăzi prezenți aici și că acordați timp din timpul dumneavoastră. Până la urmă este cea mai importantă resursă pe care o avem. Așa cum spunea mai devreme și domnul Hugo, reprezint Ministerul Cercetării, Inovării și Digitalizării în calitate de secretar de stat și mă ocup de partea de digitalizare din cadrul acestui minister. Și este, bineînțeles, o onoare să fiu astăzi printre noastre, specialiștii, cu adevărat specialiști în domeniu. Și eu vin tot din această zonă de antreprenoriat, fost programator și chiar am dedicat foarte mult timp dezvoltării de modele de machine learning. De asta a fost o onoare pentru mine să accept invitația. Și ca să intru direct în tema zilei, încep cu o glumiță pe care l-am rugat pe Bard de la Google să ne pregătească. Și zice, ne spune Bard, cum ne dăm seama că un robot este cu adevărat inteligent? E momentul în care poate să facă o glumă despre oameni, despre noi. Am convingerea că în sesiunile care urmează vom avea discuții productive care ne vor ajuta să înțelegem cum stăm la nivelul Uniunii Europene ca și țară și cum stăm, desigur, și ca soluții tehnologice pe care le putem implementa. Această decadă digitală în care suntem a dat naștere, așa cum știți, la o multitudine de startup-uri, de soluții inovative, de idei geniale care au putut beneficia de inteligența artificială, de blockchain, de IoT și au deschis noi oportunități și noi servicii disruptive pe care le vedem deja în piață. Această abundență a datelor la care avem deja acces ne ajută și vă ajută și pe dumneavoastră să luăm decizii informate, rapide și să vedem mai bine comportamentul clienților, comportamentul cetățenilor, tendințele de piață și să ne adaptăm în final strategiile la aceste informații la care avem acces. Bineînțeles că toate aceste tehnologii, pe lângă oportunități, ridică și o serie semnificativă de riscuri. Chiar luna trecută, Ministerul Cercetării, Inovării și Digitalizării a lansat în consultare publică, în dezbatere publică, Strategia Națională pentru Inteligența Artificială. Este o componentă legislativă a României care abordează fix această temă pe care o aveți și astăzi noastră în față, inteligența artificială. Și este o temă foarte importantă, inclusiv pentru noi în zona guvernamentală. Inteligența artificială, așa cum sunt convins că știți deja, este o tehnologie care ne revoluționează deja viața în toate modurile posibile și are potențialul să ne ajute să îmbunătățim atât modul în care muncim, cât și modul în care ne distrăm. Cu toate acestea, AI prezintă o serie semnificativă de provocări pe care noi am încercat să le introducem în această strategie, să le avem în vedere. Și una dintre cele mai mari provocări pe care le avem este să ne asigurăm că AI este dezvoltat și utilizat într-un mod responsabil și etic. Trebuie să ne asigurăm că AI nu este utilizat pentru a crea sisteme care sunt discriminatorii sau care să ne dăuneze în vreun fel. O altă provocare importantă pe care am luat-o în considerare în această strategie este să ne asigurăm că AI este accesibil tuturor. Nu vrem ca AI să fie disponibil doar unui grup restrâns de firme sau de persoane, ci vrem să fie accesibil tuturor. Vrem să fie în beneficiul tuturor oamenilor. Desigur, în ciuda tuturor provocărilor pe care această tehnologie le ridică, avem, desigur, și foarte multe oportunități. Oportunități de a rezolva și de a remedia probleme semnificative de sănătate, de climă și cred că toate componentele vieții pot fi abordate de această tehnologie. AI ne ajută, în final, să îmbunătățim calitatea vieții în toate modurile posibile. România, așa cum știți și cu siguranță simțiți, este în continuare o destinație atractivă pentru dezvoltarea de software și pentru zona de outsourcing, datorită personalului pe care îl avem disponibil în piață și al costurilor reduse pe care îl presupune. Forța de muncă calificată, semnificativ și specialiști foarte buni. În ciuda valului de concedieri pe care îl vedem în ultima perioadă peste ocean, România, așa cum vedem noi în momentul ăsta și informațiile pe care le avem, în România există în continuare un deficit de specialiști. Știm că putem să livrăm anual undeva sub 10.000 de specialiști în zona de IT, cred că 7-8.000 de specialiști anual, iar piața are nevoie undeva de vreo 20.000 de specialiști anual. Deci suntem într-un decalaj din punctul ăsta de vedere. Însă lucrurile sunt și pozitive și optimiste. Vedem din partea Comisiei Europene, chiar serviciile Comisiei Europene au publicat luna trecută primul raport privind stadiul îndeplinirii obiectivelor din proiectul european Digital Decade. Și vedem că România implementează deja o serie de măsuri din acest plan, Digital Decade, mare parte din ele prin PNRR, prin fondurile pe care le avem disponibile, însă este important că ele încep să fie prezente și încep să fie implementate. Aceste măsuri abordează majoritatea dimensiunilor transformării digitale, de la e-guvernare, la capitalul uman, până la îmbunătățirea digitalizării pentru IMM-uri. În timp ce economia României continuă să crească rapid și să ajungă din urmă media Uniunii Europene, sperăm noi cât mai curând, există, bineînțeles, un potențial semnificativ, neexplorat, suficient, în ceea ce privește maximizarea beneficiilor transformării digitale și a inteligenței artificiale. În final o să închei cu a doua glumă pe care mi-a spus-o Bard de la Google. Nu sunt cele mai amuzante, dar sunt, mi se pare, destul de importante venind din partea unui robot. Care este culmea inteligenței artificiale? Să creezi un robot care să fie mai inteligent decât oamenii, dar să nu fie conștient de acest lucru. Vă mulțumesc frumos!
Mulțumim foarte mult, domnule secretar de stat. Veștile par bune din sfera guvernamentală și este îmbucurător. Totuși, îndrăznesc o întrebare. Ce lipsește României, sau mă rog, nouă, ce ne lipsește ca să devenim acea Românie digitalizată, dacă ne lipsește ceva?
Da, cred că ne lipsesc destul de multe din punctul ăsta de vedere. Noi suntem la început de drum. Chiar mă uitam în momentul în care a venit în Ministerul Digitalizării la situația României comparat cu celelalte țări europene. Dacă ne uităm la cea mai importantă țară care a reușit să facă transformarea digitală, Danemarca, ei și-au început demersul ăsta acum 20 de ani. Noi suntem un pic la început din punctul ăsta de vedere, dar cred că una dintre soluțiile importante și soluția la care mă uit eu personal în cadrul Ministerului și încerc să o promovez cât mai des, este conceptul de România fără ghișee. Sau, foarte similar, conceptul de one-stop shop. Acest concept în care cetățeanul ia legătură cu serviciile oferite de statul român într-un singur punct. Dacă vorbim de un punct fizic, este un ghișeu unic care acoperă toate aspectele serviciilor digitale pe care le oferă statul. Dacă vorbim în zona online, ne referim la o singură aplicație în care cetățeanul intră, spune ce are nevoie, ce serviciu are nevoie, ce document are nevoie, face solicitarea, o emite și lucrurile se întâmplă în spatele acestei aplicații fără ca cetățeanul să știe ce instituții lucrează între ele, ce instituții fac schimbul de date și cine emite în final acel document, fără ca acest cetățean să trebuiască să meargă la mai multe ghișee fizice sau la mai multe ghișee online. Realitatea este că noi în acest moment mutăm ghișeele fizice în online, dar cetățeanul în continuare trebuie să știe la ce ghișee trebuie să meargă și de multe ori să meargă la mai multe soluții online pentru a-și face demersuri. Și atunci, cred eu cel puțin, cred că aceasta este o soluție importantă la care ne putem uita și la care ne uităm deja pentru viitor, One Stop Shop și România fără ghișee, o aplicație unică pentru cetățean, pentru a lua legătura cu serviciile statului. Sper că v-am răspuns la...
Da, mulțumesc foarte mult. Aș mai îndrăzni una foarte scurt. Am reținut din speech-ul noastră, producem 7.000 de specialiști, e un necesar de 20.000. E un decalaj, un ecart foarte mare. Cred că asta ar trebui să fie și o preocupare pentru mediul privat. Văd aici posibilitatea de a acoperi acest gap, nu numai prin zona publică. Totuși, cum putem să-l... E o diferență foarte mare.
Cred că putem atrage, acum deficitul, trebuie să fim realiști, nu este doar în zona de IT, este și în alte sectoare și mergem mult mai în spate, ajungem și la problema natalității. dar pentru a îmbunătăți și a acoperi acest necesar de specialiști în IT, cred că putem să îmbunătățim și să investim mai mult în zona de educație. Pentru că acolo putem să-i convingem și acolo putem să-i atragem în această zonă, din școala primară, din liceu, și să le dezvoltăm pasiunea și interesul pentru soluții digitale. Lucrurile astea se întâmplă deja, vedem foarte multe îmbunătățiri atunci când elevii parcurg lecțiile folosind tablete, cursuri interactive, whiteboards interactive pentru prezentarea cursurilor în școală. Sunt semnificative diferențele și cred că investiția în zona de educație ne ajută pe viitor. Și, bineînțeles, aici intervin și firmele din domeniu, reprezentanții care aveți aici, și deschiderea lor spre a furniza până la urmă idei inovative, chiar și sponsorizări, și de a se implica împreună cu statul în realizarea acestor investiții în zona de educație.
Domnule secretar de stat, mulțumim foarte mult pentru prezența noastră astăzi aici. A fost o onoare și un privilegiu să vă avem.
Onoarea mea. Mulțumesc.
Știu că domnia noastră urmează să plecați, este în regulă. And now we're going to switch in English because we're going to invite our next speaker that comes directly from Gartner. So we have with us Mr. Radek Motz, okay? Executive partner for Gartner. Radek, thank you very much for being with us today.
Good. Okay. Good morning. Can you hear me? Perfect. So I'm coming from Gartner to present you the top predictions for 2023 and beyond. Who of you was here last year? We have already heard it for previous year from my colleague. So I am going to follow up to present the top predictions, which is always a nice exercise of being collaborative and also courageous. Collaborative means that in such an exercise, all the Gartner analysts, or almost all the Gartner analysts, which is more than 2,500, are involved in. And courageous means that we must predict something that is not obvious, so we cannot be afraid of such a predictions. It would be quite easy to, let's say, predict something obvious, but it will all be true. And we have quite good track record from the past. Roughly 75 to 80% of our predictions come true. Who of you are coming to the Gartner Symposium? We are transparently showing what predictions came true and in what predictions we were wrong. This year is about the topic how we seize uncertainty. Maybe I will start with a question. Who of you predicted that war in Ukraine will continue to 2024? One, maybe two hands. Second question, who predicted the crisis in Israel? Almost nobody. So we have one candidate who can become Gartner analyst here. So we are living in unpredictable times. Nobody can predict, almost nobody can predict what will happen next year, what will happen next month, or even tomorrow. So that's why we need to work with such a situation. The title of the presentation calls Seize Uncertainty. It's quite silly because if something is uncertain, how can we seize it? Usually we as human beings would like to, let's say, seize something that is tangible. And uncertainty is not too much tangible for us. So that's why Gartner is making these predictions to help you to focus on the things and turn them into a certainty or even an opportunity that is more easily to be seized. According to a last supervisory board survey from Gartner, 30% of board members said that economic uncertainty is one of the top 3 external threats to the companies in terms of growth. Every company wants to grow, but it is becoming a frightening prospect, mainly because of the digitalization and huge technical innovation that is in place. Every company wants to grow, and on the other side, every company wants not to lose the ground under their feet. So how to tackle that? The best way to tackle such a situation is to try to turn the uncertainty into the path we can more predict. It means that we need to reimagine our assumptions. So every CIO needs to change the assumptions to be more in the space everybody understands. I will be going through the presentation in 3 categories. So we have realized that these predictions, and you will see all of them as a list, kind of fall into 1 of 3 categories. The first category or first area of uncertainty is becoming from the talents. Now is becoming completely risky for us, the discussion about with whom we will work, how we work, and how we, for example, retain the employees. So this is kind of risky for almost all the companies right now on the market. Second one is nice one, and it's that customers and inhabitants are shifting the power between themselves and the products or services or technology providers. I will go into the details there, but it is clearly visible that the power is now being shifted towards the customers. And third one is the growth, mainly in terms of that all the companies now need, because of the economic instability, all the companies need to make a decision if to invest into the cost saving or if to invest into the innovation. So this is the third area of predictions, and we will go through this one by one. So these are all the predictions, and it's coming from the metaverse. Probably you discussed it here last time with my colleague, through the employees, customers, and also the technology. So there are these 3 areas of predictions. Because of the time, I will not go through all of this, but I will go through these 6 that are highlighted on the screen. The first category, new styles, locations, and sources of work are removing the way the talent is valued. Every company now admits that employee is the biggest asset of theirs. But crucial question is how we get employees, how we retain them, and how we make them happy that they are giving the value to the company and companies become successful. So because of the metaverse, I have prepared one slide in terms of what the metaverse really is in the area of working. So there are 3 stages as Gartner sees in the, let's say, shift from the physical world to the metaverse world. The first stage is called in-room. So everybody, mainly prior to the COVID, was coming to the office. We had normal meetings, we had collaboration between people, and we delivered results. It helped the companies to, let's say, build the culture of the company. It was quite easy because it was everybody was in touch with each other, and also the employees could build their communities inside the work to, let's say, make teamwork better. After that came COVID, and it changed completely the way how we are working. And we are now, I would say, in stage 2, because not everybody wants to get back into the office. And I believe that most of you have the experience that half of the people on the meeting is sitting in the office with some audiovisual technology, and half of the people is sitting at home. And it's quite difficult to understand, for example, the chit chats of the people in the meeting room. It's difficult to watch if they are drawing something on the whiteboard, or even still the technology has the problem with full duplex voice. So if somebody is talking, your speech is not heard. So there is plenty of improvements that needs to be done in such a stage. And it causes that people working from the distance, they are feeling themselves as kind of second-class citizen. And this potentially will be resolved in stage 3, where we can imagine that the technology will evolve in the direction where we will be really able to collaborate. We will see the whiteboards on the screens. We can even contribute to the whiteboards drawings, and we will, let's say, feel a fully immersive virtual life. And this is how, let's say, Gartner sees the development from the physical world to the metaverse. I believe that last year you were discussing it as well. So, prediction number 1 is the metaverse, or that fully virtual workspaces will account for 30% of the investment growth in metaverse technologies. One question: who was in metaverse in last 2 days? Nobody. So what are current drivers of the technology in metaverse? Can you tell me? What do you believe? Which industry is now heavily investing into these technologies? The first one is gaming. So you probably all have children with the goggles, virtual reality goggles, and they are in reality living in metaverse. So the game fully takes them in, and they completely are out of the physical space, and they are fully dedicated to that. There is second industry, which I will not talk about because it's kind of weird. It's porn. But okay. So what that prediction means, it means that we need to think how this technology needs to be evolved in terms of making people connected via the technology feel better. And our recommendation is, when you are, let's say, planning the investments into the office equipment and into this improvement of such a technology, think about it not from the perspective how we work today and copy it into the virtual world. We can think about that in a completely different way. Imagine a company that is doing a construction and they are having an accident. In normal life, the experts on the construction site will take all the data, will prepare all the materials for a decision, bring it into the meeting. There is huge discussion, calculations, comparisons, and the discussion takes quite long because nobody in the meeting room can imagine how the accident really looks like on the construction site. But the new technology can really allow us to feel the experience. It can take us, all of them, to the construction site. The engineer can take us through all the problems and discuss them in reality. So everybody will be directly involved and will see what is the problem, and the decision will be much faster. So the recommendation is, in case you have something like, let's say, work equipment strategy, integrate into that your innovative ideas how to improve such a technology, and work with the technology providers to build it according to your needs. And what I believe, every industry or every company will have slightly different requirements. But now is the time that we can push the vendors to really build it according to our needs. Excuse me. So next one is a pay gap. I have another question. Please raise your hand who is paid fairly. And if you have a boss sitting next to you, don't raise your hand that you have a good space for salary increase discussion. So who believes that he's paid fairly? I was expecting more hands. Okay, so now it will be difficult with the second question, or maybe even more easy. Who believes that everybody gets paid fairly? Okay, so in the first question, we have roughly 4 hands up, 5 hands up, including me, 6. But nobody raised his or her hand in terms of everybody gets paid fairly. And this is really the problem. It's not only about women, where according to Gartner research, there is a pay gap between women and men, 18%. But it's also about a pay gap, which I believe is present on most of the European markets between the employees that work long for the company and the newly coming employees. The newly coming employees are receiving, let's say, competitive salary, but the long-term employees are, let's say, kept down and can feel, let's say, remunerated unfairly. And this situation causes a couple of problems. This situation causes resignations of the employees, employees burnout and quiet quitting. And it means that companies are having financial losses. So if they do not have motivated employees, they do not have, let's say, the efficiency and productivity as they would expect. So that's why we believe that the pay gap needs to be, let's say, completely diminished. So everybody needs to be paid equally according to what he provided to the company. But it's quite difficult because we are not able to say according to what the fairness should be set up. Should it be gender? Should it be time spent in the office? Or should it be, let's say, the value the employee provides? It's quite difficult and it needs to be discussed. So that's why our recommendation is start working on preparation of methods which are consistent and transparent, how to measure what is the real pay gap you have in the company, and also prepare the way how to, let's say, put into the life the policies that employees will see how it will improve. Also for example, for the employees from the perspective of, let's say, annual salary increase connected somehow to the inflation. Next recommendation is that managers and leaders should be courageous and step into this exercise. That everybody who is leading people should be involved, because this is not only an HR responsibility, it is a responsibility of all of us. And now, because this conference is about intelligentsia, sorry, I remembered it, but I forgot. So artificial intelligence, I have one prediction also regarding this, or 2 predictions in reality. And this is from a completely different perspective. The prediction is about that by 2025, without sustainable AI practices, artificial intelligence will consume more energy than the average European state. Why is that? It's because currently we are, let's say, adopting artificial intelligence to augment the employee work or to, let's say, improve productivity. But on the other side, it does not lead into the, let's say, expecting savings, in this case, connected, let's say, to staff reduction. I mean, the human workforce. AI is, let's say, invested into within a certain business case, but the business case is not paid off. So that's why we need to really be careful of this. All the companies are investing into that, and proper AI needs huge amount of data, and proper AI needs huge computing power, and this means power consumption. Part of our predictions is also that in case it will continue in let's say unsustainable way, in 2030 AI will consume 3.5% of whole electricity consumption in the whole world, 3.5%. So that's why the recommendation from Gartner is to tackle that from several layers of perspective. The first one is governance. Really try to measure the return on investment of AI, including the power consumption in this case, and compare it with the benefits. And as in other projects, which is usually a struggle for the companies, make the decision, cancel this use case and work on another use case, but really to remove the specifics, let's say, implementation behind the specific AI use case from the production and work on another one. Second one is from the perspective of infrastructure. So recommendation is use the dedicated hardware that is optimized for AI, like GPUs, because the traditional computing techniques are simply has a huge power consumption. And the third one is, of course, only in case you are not just a user of ChatGPT. ChatGPT runs in the cloud. You do not need, let's say, to build your own large language model. So this is not the case. But if you are working on your own large language models, on your own use cases, this is the way of approach you should select. And last one is train your employees to, let's say, think about if they cannot reuse the data that are already existing, or train them how to build the algorithms that are more power efficient. This prediction I like the most. As I said in the beginning, the power of consumers are really increasing because of the social networks. You can imagine companies coming with new product that is more expensive than the previous one, but is more crappy. Immediately, the influencers are publishing their videos. Immediately, influencers are publishing their videos and providing the review. Customers are changing the buying habits and don't buy the product. Or let's imagine that, for example, telco company, I believe you don't have O2 on this market, so I will use O2. So imagine that O2 is increasing unexpectedly the prices of the rate plan, and immediately huge amount of social networks comment are running out, and it is endangering the brand of the respective company. And this specific prediction is something about what we call customer denial of service. For example, I will again use O2. List of customer will come to his Alexa and say, "Hey Alexa, can you shut down the O2 website?" And it can happen. Based on our prediction, in 2024, one of major service provider website will be shut off because of this customer attack. And this is a threat to the companies. We should tackle that as a threat. So the recommendation is go to Chief Security and Information Officer and discuss what technology you have in place and work with him and together with the technology providers how to resolve such a situation with existing technology, or if you will need a new technology. So I need to speed up. I have last 5 minutes, sorry. Next prediction is already the technology one, and this is about the consolidation on the IT environment. It was present all the times before, but it is now even more present because the big cloud service providers, together with independent software vendors, are delivering so-called pre-integrated solutions. And this will lead to a situation that these global scaled providers will have the power to buy these companies, and even there is a new startup, it will not have enough time to grow into a big company to be kind of competitive. So that's why we as IT leaders face the situation where we will have 30% less suppliers. And we need to react on that. And the suggestion is really plan it in your strategy, try to connect with other customers to a lobby communities, and try to push the vendors into the way that the service provided to you satisfies your needs. And last one, that was the comment to this slide. And last one is the IT globalization about sovereignty. You know that governments are pushing the data sovereignty and customer identity sovereignty into the law simply. And this is becoming a problem for the global scale cloud providers, mainly because they designed the service in the way that it is not prepared architecturally for this. By the way, do you know how many global scaled cloud providers do we have in Europe? 0. We have 0. So top 10 global scale cloud providers are from US or from China, which is creating a big problem for us Europeans. And connected with this incidents all over the world, we cannot simply sustain the situation that one of the scale providers will say, let's shut down this country, and we will lose all the services that runs our business. So that's why the recommendation is, and also governments are pushing it right now, mainly EU, but also, for example, Germany. They push the vendors, and vendors are also seeking for this, to partner with local provider who is like strong enough, for example, in Germany, T-Systems, to deliver the service for you using the global scale provider. So they will, for example, have 50% share on this specific local provider. And this is the recommendation. Join this initiative and push your vendors to partner with global scale providers which are delivering this service to you. And it can increase, let's say, the trust to a cloud services itself. So this is the end of my presentation. The future is ours, of course. And there is also some Gartner research that you can use for further reading.
Thank you very much, Radek. Absolutely very interesting presentation. Big round of applause, guys. Now, thank you. So if I understood exactly, everybody's going to go to Metaverse pretty soon. And paycheck finally will be solved. Paycheck gap. So that 18% between men and women will be finally over in the next 3 or 4 years. And very interesting, 3.5% of the total consumption, energy total consumption, will come from the AI, right?
So in 2030.
Do you think this is a boundary? This is a limitation, is going to stop us to go to the AI?
No. I think that it is not for us a limitation. What I believe we must really be careful of how we build the agile use cases, point 1, and point 2. Every company is now really preparing to be sustainable on the market. So it is one of the message towards the customer. So I believe that we should use AI for making, let's say, sustainability in the world and decrease the consumption in other places.
I'm also really curious. So if everybody will ask Alexa to shut down, our website, the website, the magazine online, whatever. So who's going to be blamed for that? Is it Alexa or us?
It is my question. Of course, customers will hate companies, so that's why customers will blame us. But I believe that companies should really get prepared for that in discussion with Google, in discussion with these huge providers of such a technology, that they are somehow building the technology that will block these kind of attacks. And it means also to get into the community of lobby with other customers, because usually European countries are not so powerful to influence the roadmap of Google, for example.
Radek Moț, Executive Partner Gartner, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Foarte multe predicții, cel puțin interesante din partea lui Gartner, de care ar trebui să ținem cont sau să ne uităm asupra lor. Investiții foarte multe în metavers. Foarte interesant aceea și cu globalizarea IT-ului care nu mai este necesară. Da, toți providerii de cloud și de servicii cam vin de peste ocean. Ca și următorul nostru speaker, care nu vine de peste ocean, dar compania lui este de peste ocean, îl avem alături de noi pe domnul Ionuț Drăgoi, Senior Solution Architect în cadrul Amazon Web Services. Mulțumim foarte mult că sunteți alături de noi și aveți legătura. O să încerc să țin timerul la fel. Puteți pune întrebări. Eu încerc să suplinesc, să challenge-im puțin speakerii, pentru că de-aia avem aici, să extragem tot ce se poate de la ei. Mulțumesc!
Mulțumesc pentru introducere. Bună dimineața, bine v-am găsit. Numele meu este Ionuț Drăgoi, sunt Solutions Architect la Amazon Web Services și în primul rând aș vrea să încep prin a vă asigura că Alexa nu o să vă atace și nu o să vă închide niciodată website-urile. Securitatea este job zero la Amazon Web Services și ne asigurăm că toate aceste tehnologii sunt folosite în mod responsabil. Tot despre securitate vom vorbi un pic și astăzi. Practic, securitatea în ceea ce privește Generative AI. Toată lumea bănuiesc că a auzit de Generative AI. Este o realitate. Companiile în ultima perioadă încearcă să folosească această tehnologie într-un fel sau altul. De asemenea, au apărut și diverse îngrijorări în ceea ce privește securitatea datelor în momentul în care noi interacționăm cu Generative AI. Și probabil multă lume din sală și-a pus deja genul acesta de întrebări. Ok, folosesc o aplicație de Generative AI, care în spate are un model de machine learning, dar știu unde exact rulează acel model de machine learning sau datele pe care eu le trimit, pe care le folosesc să interacționez cu aceste modele. Știu exact ce se întâmplă cu ele, cine are acces la date, cine le vede și mai ales vor fi aceste date folosite mai departe, poate de Amazon să îmbunătățească anumite modele sau poate de alți provideri ai modelelor să antreneze alte modele de machine learning. E bine, astea sunt câteva întrebări la care vom încerca să răspundem în următoarele 20 de minute. Bun, vom începe cu o scurtă recapitulare a ceea ce înseamnă Generative AI, după care vom vedea cum putem avea acces la genul acesta de tehnologie în Amazon Web Services, folosind Amazon Bedrock. Vom atinge topicurile respective de securitate de care am amintit, iar la final, dacă mai avem timp, o să vedem și alte opțiuni de a folosi inteligența artificială generativă în Amazon Web Services. Bun, ce vedeți aici, practic, sunt câteva exemple de Generative AI. Bănuiesc că până la acest moment, toată lumea s-a jucat într-un fel sau altul cu Generative AI. Dar ce este de fapt această inteligență artificială generativă? Păi, practic, îi spune și numele. Este un tip de inteligență artificială care poate crea content nou, poate crea text, poate crea imagini, poate genera videoclipuri, în același timp poate și susține o conversație cu o persoană umană. Iar în spatele acestei inteligențe artificiale avem niște modele de machine learning. Ideea e că aceste modele de machine learning ce țin de Gen AI sunt niște modele extrem de complexe. Da? Ele conțin undeva de la 10 până la sute de miliarde de parametri sau variabile. Și aceste modele au fost antrenate pe o cantitate extrem de mare de date. Probabil o să auziți expresia că generative AI sau modele de generative AI au fost antrenate pe internet scale data, practic toate datele publice din internet, să zicem. Aceste modele noi le numim foundation models, da? Deci tot ce înseamnă generative AI se bazează pe foundation models sau large language models. Acum, ce trebuie să înțelegem e că nu există nimic magic în spatele acestor modele. Tehnologia există și exista de multă vreme. Doar faptul că am reușit să antrenăm aceste modele de machine learning pe o cantitate atât de mare de date, practic le-au dat această inteligență pentru că au reușit să proceseze foarte multe date și să vadă foarte multe pattern în acele date. Cloud-ul, bineînțeles, fiind un catalizator în ecuația asta, deoarece a permis accesul la o capacitate foarte mare de calcul pentru a putea antrena aceste modele. Acum, diferența dintre aceste foundation models și modelele de machine learning tradiționale este următoarea. În cazul modelelor tradiționale, dacă doream să efectuăm un task, de exemplu, să sumarizăm un e-mail sau să generăm text pe baza, nu știu, unei propoziții, antrenam un model care să facă fix acel task. Da? Deci aveam un model pentru un task și dacă voiam, de exemplu, mai multe task-uri, aveam mai multe modele, trebuiau antrenate eventual de către echipele noastre de machine learning. Acum, cu apariția foundation models, practic avem un singur model care poate face toate aceste task-uri în același timp. Da? Și poate fi aplicat pe o multitudine de probleme și de use case-uri. Iarăși, o parte foarte importantă, aceste generative AI, fiind deja antrenate în prealabil și având deja această inteligență, noi le putem foarte ușor customiza pentru use case-ul nostru. Da? Să zicem că avem nevoie ca un model să răspundă la niște întrebări specifice din organizația noastră, luăm acest model care este deja preantrenat și pur și simplu îl mai antrenăm pe o cantitate foarte mică de date. În acel moment putem avea varianta noastră de foundation model care poate răspunde la întrebări din organizația noastră, de exemplu. Bun, și acum am vorbit un pic despre ce înseamnă generative AI. Hai să vedem cum putem avea acces, cum putem folosi genul acesta de tehnologie în Amazon Web Services. Și avem Amazon Bedrock. Amazon Bedrock este un serviciu care este fully managed de către AWS. Ce înseamnă asta? Înseamnă că avem acces la generative AI fără să știm cum funcționează. Nu avem nevoie să avem cunoștințe despre machine learning și despre generative AI. Nu avem nevoie să avem cunoștințe nici măcar despre cum se face deployment-ul unui astfel de model în cloud și nici măcar să știm ce fel de infrastructură are nevoie ca să funcționeze. De toate task-urile astea se ocupă Amazon pentru noi. Noi avem practic un serviciu, este API-based, ceea ce înseamnă noi putem să trimitem o comandă către acest serviciu și înapoi primim un rezultat. Asta îl face foarte, foarte ușor de integrat în aplicațiile existente. Da? Este foarte developer-friendly și nu avem nevoie, cum ziceam, de niciun fel de cunoștințe de machine learning. Pe lângă asta, cu Amazon Bedrock avem și acces la mai multe tipuri de modele de generative AI. Avem modele create de Amazon și mai avem modele și de la third-party providers. O să vedem în slide-ul următor despre ce modele este vorba. Și un lucru foarte important, putem folosi genul acesta de modele într-un mod privat. Da? S-a amintit mai devreme și s-a vorbit despre ChatGPT sau despre Bard. Și o să mai povestim un pic și când vorbim despre model tenancy, dar ideea este că aceste modele, de exemplu, dacă le-ați folosit în același timp și ați folosit același model pe care l-au folosit și alți oameni. Da? cu ajutorul Amazon Bedrock putem crea astfel de modele private pe care să le folosim doar noi sau organizația noastră, dar la care nu mai are nimeni altcineva acces. Bun, trecând mai departe, iarăși pentru că Bedrock este un serviciu din AWS, avem acces la toate capabilitățile de securitate ale platformei, da? Și este integrat cu toate serviciile de securitate AWS. Iarăși o să vedem în slide-urile următoare despre ce este vorba. Ok, ziceam că avem opțiuni de mai multe tipuri de modele de generative AI. În primul rând avem Amazon Titan. Acestea sunt niște general purpose models care sunt create de Amazon. De asemenea, mai avem acces la Jurassic 2 de la AI21 Labs. Acesta, de exemplu, este un foundation model cu care putem genera text în mai multe limbi. Dacă, de exemplu, ne dorim să creăm o aplicație gen chatbot, atunci putem folosi Claude de la Anthropic. Modelul acesta este capabil să susțină o conversație, să zicem, foarte similar cu ChatGPT, iar un lucru foarte interesant, se descurcă foarte bine în română. Da? Dacă vreți, de exemplu, să creați o aplicație, un chatbot inteligent care să servească userii români, puteți foarte ușor folosi Claude. Iar Stable Diffusion de la Stability AI este un model care ne ajută să generăm imagini. Probabil știți deja, în ultimul an, 2 ani au fost pe val aplicațiile acelea în care încărcam câteva imagini și creau tot felul de avatare. Toate acele aplicații se bazau pe Stable Diffusion. Bun, acum să ajungem la partea de securitate, să încercăm să răspundem la întrebările pe care le-am pus inițial. Ce se întâmplă cu datele noastre din punct de vedere al privacy-ului? Păi, ce trebuie să înțelegem este că în momentul în care noi interacționăm cu astfel de modele de generative AI, noi le trimitem niște date, le dăm niște instrucțiuni, le spunem ce să facă. Ele generează un output, ni-l trimit înapoi. Mai mult decât atât, cum ziceam, le putem și modifica cu ajutorul datelor noastre și atunci modelul este unul cu totul separat, este o copie a modelului inițial. Ei bine, toate aceste date în AWS, când folosim acest serviciu, sunt stocate undeva într-un environment separat. Deci avem pur și simplu un environment separat, izolat, pentru fiecare client în parte. Mai mult decât atât, toate acele date, deci pe lângă faptul că avem control asupra datelor, toate acele date nu sunt share-uite absolut deloc, nu sunt folosite nici de către Amazon pentru a îmbunătăți modelele în vreun fel sau altul, nu sunt share-uite nici cu cei care au creat celelalte modele, deci cu providerii modelelor third party. Iar din punct de vedere al securității datelor, acestea sunt criptate, deci în environmentul în care sunt stocate, sunt criptate folosind serviciul nostru de Key Management System. Acolo iarăși o să vedem un pic mai departe într-un slide, o să avem opțiuni de a selecta cheia noastră de criptare, deci putem fi în control complet asupra criptării datelor sau putem lăsa, de exemplu, Amazon Web Services să se ocupe de criptare. Ele sunt criptate, bineînțeles, și in transit, nu doar at rest. Accesul la acele modele, să zicem în cazul în care noi vrem să creăm o aplicație și vrem să-i dăm acces să folosească unul dintre aceste modele, accesul se face pe baza politicilor de Identity și Access Management, la fel cum se întâmplă cu toate celelalte resurse din AWS. Deci, iarăși, avem control total și asupra accesului. Mai mult decât atât, toată interacțiunea dintre useri, aplicații cu acele modele este logată. În orice moment noi ne putem uita undeva în loguri și putem vedea cine, când, cum a interacționat cu modelele de generative AI din Amazon Bedrock. Bun, deci cum ziceam, avem o serie de controle de securitate care sunt configurabile, pe care noi, ca end user, le putem configura. Partea de data privacy, după câte vedeți aici, nu este configurabilă. Asta, by default, datele sunt private, nu sunt share-uite cu absolut nimeni. Există o diferență între serviciul acesta și alte servicii scuzați, și alte servicii din AWS, în care trebuia, de exemplu, să optăm ca datele să nu fie share-uite. Aici nu avem opțiunea asta. Deci și dacă am vrea, de exemplu, să share-uim datele cu un third-party provider sau să zicem, da, Amazon, te rog să folosești datele mele să îmbunătățești modelele, nu avem această opțiune. În schimb, avem opțiunea, cum ziceam, să selectăm model tenancy. O să vedem imediat ce înseamnă model tenancy. Avem opțiunea, când vine vorba de encripția datelor, să folosim cheile noastre sau să lăsăm serviciul, adică Amazonul, să se ocupe de criptare și la fel cum ziceam și pe partea de access management și fine-tuning, iarăși acolo avem opțiunea să creăm niște modele private și adaptate nevoilor noastre și la fel putem controla accesul cu ajutorul politicilor. Bun. Acum, când vorbim de multi-tenant, avem două opțiuni acolo, single tenant și multi-tenant endpoint. Și o să încep mai întâi cu multi-tenant endpoint. Multi-tenant se referă la felul în care noi folosim aceste modele, felul în care noi interacționăm cu aceste modele. Așa cum ziceam, ChatGPT, Bard sunt genul de multi-tenant endpoint. Toată lumea care folosește genul acesta de aplicații trimite request-urile către un singur model care practic răspunde tuturor. În momentul în care noi ne dorim să avem un model privat, doar al nostru, să știm că nimeni nu are acces la datele respective și să, de exemplu, vrem ca modelul să fie customizat folosind date din organizația noastră, în Amazon Bedrock putem crea acest single tenant endpoint. Deci, practic, facem o copie a acelui foarte mare model, îl reantrenăm cu câteva date foarte specifice nouă și facem, de fapt, serviciul îi face deployment în acel environment care este complet izolat. Da? Iar în felul acesta, practic, avem acces doar noi avem acces la acel model. În același timp, chiar dacă folosim, de exemplu, single tenant sau multi-tenant endpoint în Amazon Bedrock, din nou, toate datele cu care interacționăm rămân la fel ca la început, deci nu sunt folosite pentru a reantrena modelul în vreun fel, nu sunt trimise, nu sunt share-uite cu vendorii modelului, deci asta este foarte important de înțeles și toate aceste environment-uri vor exista în niște conturi AWS care sunt în control absolut al Amazonului. Da? Și aici avem un exemplu de use case enterprise în care Amazon a folosit tehnologia aceasta de generative AI. Amazon Code Whisperer este practic un serviciu pe care l-am lansat acum un an de zile și este un asistent care poate ajuta developerii să genereze cod. Pur și simplu, pe baza unei simple propoziții, să zicem, scrie-mi o funcție care să copieze date dintr-un S3 bucket într-un alt S3 bucket, Code Whisperer va putea genera acest cod. Pe lângă faptul că generează cod, poate să inspecteze și codul deja existent și să descopere diverse vulnerabilități de securitate, de exemplu, și să ne sugereze și anumite remediations. No, și Code Whisperer este foarte ușor de folosit pentru că este integrat cu majoritatea environment-urilor cu care developerii lucrează de obicei. Mai mult decât atât, dacă, de exemplu, avem în compania noastră capabilități de machine learning, avem o echipă de data scientists, sunt foarte pricepuți și vor să-și construiască ei singuri modelul lor și să nu folosească Bedrock. Atunci avem SageMaker, care este un serviciu care oferă un pic mai multă flexibilitate. Acolo, în SageMaker, avem opțiunea să folosim mai multe modele de generative AI, nu doar cele 4 din Bedrock, și avem și acces la infrastructură, putem face lucruri un pic mai complexe, dar care, bineînțeles, necesită și mai multe cunoștințe. Iar aici avem, de exemplu, o listă cu modele care sunt available în Amazon SageMaker, dar pe care nu le găsim în Bedrock. Bun. Iar acum, în final, aș vrea să vă las cu 3 pași simpli prin care puteți începe să explorați Generative AI în AWS. Păi, în primul rând, este foarte simplu să creștem, de exemplu, productivitatea developerilor noștri sau să ne îmbunătățim postura de securitate folosind Code Whisperer. Cum ziceam, este integrat cu majoritatea environmenturilor de development pe care developerii deja le folosesc și este foarte simplu să începem cu Code Whisperer. După care, dacă suntem curioși de alte use case-uri, de exemplu image generation sau text generation, putem folosi Bedrock. Chiar în consola AWS avem un playground unde este foarte simplu, ne ducem, selectăm modelul pe care vrem să-l folosim, îi scriem acolo un input și vedem ce ne generează și mai sunt anumite chestii micuțe pe care le putem modifica. Iar în final, dacă aveți un use case anume, eu împreună cu colegii mei de la AWS vă putem ajuta să creați, de exemplu, un proof of concept, iar dacă nu aveți un use case, tot eu împreună cu colegii mei vă putem ajuta să găsiți unul. Și asta a fost tot din partea mea, vă mulțumesc.
Mulțumesc foarte mult, Ionuț. Foarte foarte challenging. O curiozitate personală, avem percepția, cel puțin, că în Statele Unite și în Occident în general, există acest entuziasm apropo de Gen AI, nu numai despre Gen AI, dar în general despre inteligența artificială, dar, repet, executivii au pornit, sunt extrem de entuziaști apropo de această tehnologie. Resimțiți acest lucru și în România?
Da, absolut. Avem destui clienți cu care avem discuții despre generative AI. Un exemplu, chiar aș putea să vă dau, avem un client care încearcă să folosească generative AI pentru a răspunde unor mail-uri. De exemplu, un client primește niște plăți refuzate dintr-o cauză sau alta și dorește să genereze automat un e-mail astfel încât să îi se explice ce s-a întâmplat acolo, dar să fie formulat într-un așa fel încât, nu știu, să nu fie agresiv, să poată comunica foarte, foarte ușor cu clientul respectiv. Deci ăsta este un use case real pe care încercăm să-l rezolvăm și nu este ceva neapărat foarte simplu, deoarece fiecare caz de genul acesta de, nu știu, plată refuzată este specific și atunci trebuie să îi dăm un context modelului respectiv, astfel încât să genereze un răspuns adaptat pentru clientul respectiv.
Executivii vin către voi sau IT-ul vine către voi, solicitându-vă?
În cazul de față a fost un executiv care era foarte invested și în IT.
Ok. Ok.
Bună. Eu aș dori să pun o întrebare atât din punct de vedere tehnic cât și business și nu vreau să vă răpesc foarte mult timp. Având în vedere, cu toții știm, cei 3 mari jucători pe partea de vedere de cloud, data storage și așa mai departe, Microsoft, Google și AWS, aș dori să vă întreb ce părere aveți despre noua tendință în ceea ce privește decentralized data storage, computation and so on, atât din punct de vedere scalabilitate, costuri, pentru că știm cu toții este noul trend și va veni cu niște costuri mult infime față de ceea ce este la ora actuală cu cei 3 mari jucători.
Da.
Mulțumesc.
Dacă prin decentralized data storage computation ne referim, de exemplu, la noile trenduri de data mesh sau să încercăm să nu mai punem toate datele într-un data lake, ci să folosim acest concept numit data mesh, din punctul meu de vedere este o idee foarte bună, pentru că încercăm să transformăm un pic și să productize și acest domeniu al datelor, da? În loc să punem datele undeva într-un loc și într-un singur loc unde sunt oameni care se ocupă doar de partea de storage, dar nu au context asupra ce înseamnă de fapt datele respective, e mult mai bine să păstrăm datele aproape de oamenii din business care înțeleg de fapt ce înseamnă datele respective, poți să le acorde un context acelor date și să creezi doar niște produse care mai departe pot fi oferite unui alt business line sau altuia. Pentru că în cazul data lake-ului, de exemplu, poate veni o cerere, am nevoie de, nu știu, date care înseamnă asta și asta și atunci sunt niște data engineers care probabil fac niște transformări de date și oferă niște date undeva dintr-un tabel, dar ei nu înțeleg de fapt ce înseamnă datele alea. Cerința ar trebui să meargă mult mai bine la un om de business care înțelege despre ce date are nevoie consumatorul și atunci direct foarte, foarte aproape să aibă tool-urile necesare de a oferi datele respective fără a le pune undeva într-un loc comun.
O întrebare scurtă și la obiect. Despre Code Whisperer, frumos nume,
Da.
first. Este cross-language, acoperă mai multe limbaje de programare focusat?
Da, acoperă mai multe limbaje. Python, Java, JavaScript.
Cele populare.
Cele populare, dar nu le acoperă pe toate, dar cele populare, da.
Și dacă acoperă, nu știu, majoritatea vulnerabilităților tehnice, gen...
OWASP, top 10 OWASP, da, și probabil mai sunt și altele, dar nu le știu pe toate.
Mulțumesc.
Bun, mulțumesc foarte mult, Ionuț. Mai aveam și alte întrebări, dar o să te challenge-im în pauza care va urma după acest panel și după următoarea prezentare. Mulțumim foarte mult! O mare plăcere să o invit alături de noi pe Andreea Ioniță, VP în cadrul E.ON România și personajul care se ocupă de digitalizare, CIO, Chief Digital Officer, Chief Information Officer în cadrul E.ON România și unul dintre membrii pe care noi, Asociația CEO Council, cu care noi, Asociația CEO Council, ne mândrim foarte mult, pentru a modera panelul care urmează și care trebuie să consolideze, să spunem așa, ideile de astăzi. Te rog. Panelul, mă rog, avem și o mică chestiune de logistică. Ne pare rău că Andreea, în calitate de moderator, va sta în picioare, dar va fi în regulă tot.
Bună dimineața tuturor! Îmi cer scuze pentru vocea asta cu AI Impact, așa sună, ca un chatbot cumva. Nu e nici de la party, nici de la băutură, e pur și simplu de la sezonul ăsta, care între cald și rece și climatic, nici nu mai știm în ce anotimp suntem. Mă bucur tare să fiu la încă o conferință CIO Council, e o mare plăcere și sper să mă țină vocea până la finalul panelului. Nu pot să nu observ în continuare lipsa de diversitate din sală. E ceva care discut cu Hugo constant, cum facem să îmbunătățim raportul doamnelor în toată comunitatea CIO Council, dar oricum avem vești bune, adică paycheck-ul crește în următorii 2 ani pentru zona feminină, așa că poate ăsta e un motiv bun să atragem mai multe doamne în comunitatea CIO Council. Nu o să insist foarte mult pe topicul AI, s-a discutat deja la primele sesiuni ale conferinței noastre. Personal și pe mine mă pasionează topicul mai mult din paradoxul pe care îl aduce. Adică e clar o dezvoltare și o tehnologie care ne schimbă radical viața și fără de care nu mai putem. Pe de altă parte este însă și extrem de controversat, lucru care ridică foarte multe scenarii. Cum îl folosim, care sunt eticile, este sau nu reglementat, avem capabilități care să poată stiruiască întreaga această tehnologie, e un impact bun pentru business sau din contră vine și cu multe riscuri la pachet. Deci sunt foarte multe întrebări la care nu cred că avem încă răspunsuri, dar avem un panel extrem de interesant astăzi, așa că îmi face mare plăcere să invit pe scenă pe Emilia Ciura, Enterprise Account Executive Google Cloud, Iurie Cojocaru, partener Nestor Diculescu Kingston Peterson, Remix Sieminski, Regional Sales Manager SolarWinds, Răzvan Putucaru, partener Financial Services and Advisory Leaders Mazars și Laurențiu Mandu, prietenul nostru de la CIO Council Board Member. I will switch to English. First of all, a big hand of applause for our panelists. Indeed, it is a very strange setup. It's the first time I'm actually running a panel on this in this format, so I will try to be with my eyes on you, but equally on them. Thank you very much for joining us for such an interesting topic, and I'm really happy also to have Emilia to break a bit the diversity in this panel. you have to open
Okay.
there. Yes.
I think we have like 20% diversity here, so we're
Quite
doing
fair.
It's a start.
It's actually quite fair. A lot has been said. A lot is going to be said, I'm sure, about AI. But because we have different industry representation today in the panel, I have tried to gather some of the key questions we have around this new technology. And we hope we're going to get to some answers actually today in a way or another. Therefore, my first question, I will start with Emilia also to respect the ladies' order. How will generative AI affect actually your industry and also the company? Because you're working for Google, there are lots of developments in terms of technology and AI. What do you think is going to be the impact on a short and long term? And I have to say your answers have to be fast and concise because we do have a time pressure.
Okay, I will try to be very fast. I think at Google, to begin with, AI is at the heart of everything we do. And I think we are very fortunate and lucky because being, a software company and, early adopters of AI, we work with many industries. So I think we touch all of them. My previous colleagues mentioned, gaming, but I think we are really proud to making huge advancements in healthcare, in banking, in government, in terms of what we're doing for the people. So I think in the era where we are being constantly told we have to do more with less, Gen AI, which is obviously it's a subset of AI, comes to help us in this space because it helps us innovate, it helps us generate content, images, music, and in this way we can, optimize tasks that are redundant. It can help us, optimize workflows. So pretty much I would say all the stack that we have that we can leverage can help us be more productive. I think this is the first advantage of generative AI. And obviously, I think also my previous colleagues mentioned everything that is burning at this time, like reducing cost and using, a lot of solutions like virtual assistant, virtual reality, predictive. It can help us achieve all these goals.
Thank you very much, Emilia. I will go next actually to Remik. Remik, you are representing SolarWinds. Maybe you can also tell us a few things what actually SolarWinds is doing. And my question to you is, if you have already some examples, some AI pilots or already solutions implemented across the company that you can share with us actually and some of their benefits.
Yes, good morning, everybody, and thank you for having me and SolarWinds here. Yes, of course. So first and foremost, I would say that artificial intelligence is I would say top interest of the company, generally speaking, because of as we are coming, from the monitoring space, as our CEO says, and we truly believe we are about to enrich people's life. That's what we are trying, really to do, to help people, who are on the daily basis working, with the extremely complex IT environment. We truly believe that we can do more based on that. Yes. So what I could do, the ultimate goal of what we've been doing is we would like to support people who are in charge of IT, simply, of the big infrastructures, big environments. Yes, that is kind of, I would say, the purpose for existing of SolarWinds. Yes, so we are very in charge of all the automatic related technologies which are based on machine learning. That is the simplest, answer I could do. Plus, we are transforming simply monitoring into something more reactive, less passive, less passive, I would say, more like dynamic. So it could be autonomous, even platform within the time. And then the results of it. I could mention a lot of results. We are deeply involved in, for example, the event, which is, I would say, very important in our region. So Ukrainian war, we're delivering our technologies, and obviously, we try to be hacked every day, I guess, so that is one big, example I could give. Also, we are serving large and small companies. And at that space, we've been using AIOps, for incorporating, this automation, as I discussed. The last would be, how we serve the companies developing code. Yes. We're helping, obviously, them with our AIOps,
So AI is already part of your business.
Yes, absolutely.
It's an usual thing.
It's the most important thing, I believe, truly.
Okay. Thank you very much, Reming. Lawrence, you have been sitting in the CIO Council board for some time now. You are interacting with a lot of CIOs on the Romanian market. What do you feel? Do we have a right governance at the company's level? What are the CIOs telling you? Is there an AI governance in place? Do we know actually what's the right governance to steer this new technology? What are your thoughts on this one?
I think it's still early to talk about AI governance. Actually, AI has become quite trendy with Gen AI, picking up speed, and actually AI has been around for many years. I remember the first deep learning, system that I've implemented was like 20 years ago, actually before 2003. But we didn't talk about AI back then. We were just applying the normal IT governance. We were, implementing a system. I think in the meantime, a lot has evolved that is bringing AI now to center stage. With internet, with connectivity, with cloud and access to data massively. And I think today AI governance actually is more related to, to the way we govern IT in relation to our businesses. But I think, the main point I see and the main realization I think for CIOs is that AI is a business topic. And I think, when we think about governance, when we think about, how we manage and how we put AI on the table, we should always remember AI is a business topic. AI should be and is going to be a CEO topic, not a CIO topic, not an IT topic. And from that perspective, I think, coming back to governance, what's important is to always consider it from a business case perspective. It's not only a technology that we invest in, it's not only a trend or a hype, but I think it's important to always ask ourselves the question, and I see this when I discuss with CIOs, what is the business value that AI is bringing? What is the business case? How is it driving business results? Because in all fairness, with every trend and every hype and every new technology that has arrived, we have seen situations when, particularly in Romania, we may have had a business case or we may have not had a business case, a positive business case. I remember call centers were a hype. But many times, automating call center interactions was not producing a positive business case for Romanian companies because the labor and the salaries of the call center reps were still low. It was just more expensive to implement the technology than to continue using people in the call center. So I would like to put that perspective, on the governance. And if there is one point I would pick, that point would be this one. We need to think of the business case, of the business value that the technology is providing. And what I see always, and particularly with AI, the business case and the business value comes from a specific custom-built use case and scenario for that particular business. There is nothing, at least for now, off the shelf that you can, just plug into your business and get results.
So AI, it's both a business and an IT topic. It cannot be done unless there is an alignment in business and IT. And I think that's a very important point of view because sometimes we as CIOs, CDTOs, regardless of the title, we are being perceived as the drivers of the technology regardless, right? So the business case becomes an IT responsibility, but I truly share your point of view, Laurențiu. It's a joint decision and the business must be the ones that actually drive this forward, given the benefits that this technology might bring.
What's essential for the CIO is to be in the driver's seat, as always.
Of course.
As with any technology, as with any trend, as with any new, topic that comes on the table.
Thank you. Thank you very much. My next question is actually for Răzvan, and I'm just going to share with you a news I was reading this morning. It was about Canada complaining about a government in China that they were putting a lot of fake news using actually artificial intelligence on social media. So it's already a big buzz about it, and it's actually not the first news that I read in this respect. Therefore, my question to you, Răzvan, is what are the ethics principles that we need to bear in mind when actually using AI? Do we have these ethic principles in place what has to be done in this area?
Thank you, Andrea, and good morning, everyone. It feels very important speaking from this setup. Try to have a familiar discussion. So I guess on the topic of ethics of AI, companies have come to know quite quickly that the AI scales not only the solutions, but also scales some of the risks. And some of them have already been named so far. So we have the ethic in place, the bias that some of the solutions they show, and comes to my mind an example when an application US is investigated because recommended to the doctors and nurses to pay more attention to white patients rather than sicker black patients. There are also applications which can discriminate in terms of gender, and there are some good examples here. But the ethics do not stop here. We have also some issues in terms of data privacy. So how will we use the data? And we've seen that we need a lot of data for these models. How we own the data, how we acquire the data, how we sell it, how we use it. We have also the question of morality. So how artificial intelligence is used for the purpose of design, because it can be misinterpreted, can be used for manipulation. We have also the sustainability issue. The two, they come very close together because I have a lot of discussions where sustainability strategies are pushed forward by the companies, but we have seen that implementing the AI will lead us in not a very long term that the consumption of energy, which may overseed and may all the targets which are established by the sustainability. So all of this, I think, leads to the conclusion that we need to go for a responsible and ethic AI. And the Secretary of State in the morning, they highlighted this aspect of an ethical and responsible AI. How we can do that? There are some, I think, there is not a clear prescription for that, but some steps that can be done, and they start with the training of the talents, with the training of the people on what does it mean an ethical and responsible AI. Train the engineers on the biases, or mostly on the avoidance of biases, on the security and on the robustness of the models. Train from the beginning on the product management, how we should embed the ethic and responsible AI. Train, of course, the leadership, which is very important because also Lorenzo said, so we are going together with the leadership. The leadership needs to understand what is a responsible and ethical AI. Then we go to design and development. We need to embed in the design and development these principles. We need to have metrics. We need to have criteria from the design that embed the ethic and responsible AI. We need a system of monitoring, how we do that in terms of reporting, auditing, and in terms of accountability of the results of developing and using the artificial intelligence solutions across the company. And I truly believe, also being more of a process-oriented guy, that governance is something that should give this balance and should keep using artificial intelligence in an ethical and responsible way by making clear flows, clear governance and strategies in terms of ethical and responsible AI.
Thank you, Răzvan. Yuria, you are representing a legal firm, and I have actually a personal curiosity. First one is if you already had any cases concerning AI, I don't know, data privacy, any topic. And I would also like to get your opinion because, AI is collecting data from all aspects of our lives, right? So how is the data privacy law, how does the data privacy law has to change to actually get us protected from this immense usage of the personal data?
Well, the good news is that we already have a good privacy legislation. It's the famous GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation, which is in force, applicable since 2018. So each time when you have an AI system which uses personal data, meaning information which identifies an individual directly or indirectly, you will also have to comply with these data protection rules. Now, of course, it is not always simple, and coming to your question, yes, we had projects with our clients involving an AI, and it's not that simple to comply with those rules because the legislation was written back in 2016, being applicable since 2018, and back then the technical level was other, the expectations were different, so we now have to apply the rules from 2016 to the realities from now. So giving some examples, starting from the beginning, from the collection of data. You collect data from where? From public sources, or from individuals directly, or from your own databases. You previously collected data for other purposes, and you have to ask yourself in that moment, do I have a purpose which is connected with that initial purpose? Because in this case, we have a problem of limited purpose. So we have to ensure that the purpose is limited. And strictly connected with this one, transparency. We have to be transparent with individuals. We have to inform them about how their personal data are used. And it's very difficult sometimes when you do not collect the data directly from individuals. Of course, there are certain exceptions from these rules. You have to avoid the information, but those exceptions are strictly applicable, so you have to be sure that those exceptions apply to you. If you have already provided a privacy notice to individuals, you have to make sure that that second use of your data is also covered by the privacy notice. And if you did not cover that, you have to cover it. And if you did not provide the privacy notice initially, you have to do it. Now, we work with our clients in order to ensure that the information which is provided to individuals is sufficient in order for them to understand the AI system, but in other way, not to provide them too much information in order not to overload them, and to provide the information in such a manner in order to be clear for a person who is not technically sophisticated. Now, another challenge we have in our data protection legislation, the data subject requests of your rights. So you have to, as a company, you have to be able to manage the requests from individuals. They may come and say, I want to delete my data, I want to update my data, I want to correct my data, I want to know what data do you have about me. And you, as a company who deals with AI system, must be able to respond. And if you read the data protection authorities who have published guidances on AI in connection with data protection, they all say your AI systems must be designed from the beginning in such a manner that when the person comes and asks something about their data, you must be able to provide it, to update data, to correct data, to delete data, to provide information about data. Our clients say it's very difficult to do that because sometimes the system has been already designed, so it wasn't considered from the beginning. So there are very many difficulties from this perspective. Then another very important aspect regards the data minimization. So as you all know, we have this principle in data protection legislation, which says you must use as few data as possible in order to attain the purpose. And on the other hand, you have machine learning, which use large amount of data, and you have to reconcile these two areas. Of course, data minimization means that you must train your system with information which is not personal data. In your system, you must use information which is as much depersonalized as possible. So maybe you cannot anonymize it, but at least try it to be less possible to match the identity of persons and so on. Of course, these are just a few examples, but from the privacy perspective, you also have to consider aspects like internal privacy policies. You have to include in your internal documents information about who does what are the roles of individuals dealing with AI systems, the trainings which come hand in hand with privacy policies, because our data protection authority constantly says that the privacy policy is not sufficient. You must also provide training to individuals to pinpoint the main aspects of the privacy policy, what that person needs to understand. Data protection impact assessments, those assessments which are done with regard to processings which pose high risks, and AI systems frequently pose high risk for individuals. And of course, security of data. Security of data, because you have to design your AI systems in such a manner in order to ensure protection and security of data. So coming back to your question, I would say that not necessarily data protection legislation needs to change, but it's other way around. The AI systems need to change in order to adapt to the data protection legislation. But of course, certain adjustments need to be made, because as I said, the legislation from 2016 does not match the current realities. But we must all understand a fact. Even if we bring the legislation to today's realities, today's technical realities, tomorrow our legislation will still be one step behind, because the technology advances, the technologies move forward, and the legislation still needs to keep pace.
Thank you very much. It's indeed a complex topic, and I also feel that it's not so well known also at the users level. So maybe we will touch base on this one also. What do I need to know as a normal user when I actually put all my data in an AI chatbot tool or system, and how do I protect myself, right, without all this educated information? Coming back to Emilia. Google, it's very active in terms of its involvement in the society via many actions that you guys are doing. My question to you is, what do you feel actually that the governance at the country's level can actually take from the AI benefits to influence in a positive way the society? And if you can also share with us one or two examples from your activity.
Yes, of course. And I'm gonna say something about your previous example with China. We actually have a lot of numbers and statistics that are publicly available, that top countries in the world that, governments, in terms of numbers and their investment in AI, we have US, who is at the top, and they committed more than $1 billion in AI, just to increase and infuse the power of that into their community. Second place is Canada, and then it's China and UK. So China is one of the top countries in the world that is hugely investing, and you told us, unfortunately, in good purposes all the time, but they do have a lot of interest in AI. And I think, it's something that comes from person to business to government. And I think it should be a top priority because it can touch so many aspects of our community. And here I'm thinking of a few examples, and we can give some examples from Bucharest. Like, I think some advancement that is already publicly available in more, let's say, Western countries, for example, monitoring traffic flow. All of us know how many hours every day we spend in traffic, we stop at red lights, it's super crowded. So I think one of the biggest positive things would be to monitor it. And how would it be, during the night to have all the traffic lights on green light, because we have cameras that can see and sensors to see how many cars are on the road, how many people, and, depending on this to get us on the right path. And then I would say a second huge thing that it can do for the community is in terms of healthcare. Right now, all we know, everyone we know, if we change doctor is a nightmare. They don't have our records, they don't have our medical history, and then you spend a lot of time. You have to do, tests all over again. So let's imagine, in a dystopian world that, doctors have, all doctors from all, private and public hospitals, they have access to our medical records. And then you just by clicking a button, they can pull out, all your history, and then maybe reduce the time with hours, days, or even months to a result. Also, I think something really, really important is to the ability to process huge amounts of data, because we have increase the amount of data that we work with. Obviously, data is the new petrol. So I would say the public sector is one of the industries that works with the biggest amounts of data. But right now, we cannot do any kind of analysis on that. We cannot help the public with that. I would say the workers in the public sector spend a lot of time right now with redundant tasks, repetitive tasks, and I think it would be a huge help if we can use AI to somehow, optimize and automate a lot of these tasks that take a lot of time, and then our workers can really focus on things that matter for the community. I would say these are just a few examples, but again, we can discuss about, preventing cybersecurity attacks, protecting the country, but we can spend here hours. So
Thank
I
you.
will just focus on those.
Thank you, Emilia. Those are indeed very good points. And I can also share actually one from the industry. I'm also representing from the utilities. We are also testing AI for all the products and services that are going to be more sustainable. As we are in a big energy transition these days, for us, AI is going to be an important tool actually to secure we really manage to succeed in this transition towards zero emissions. My next question goes actually to Laurențiu and to Remig, and it's more on the organizational level, because they say in order to keep actually the pace with the high-speed developments that the technology is bringing, of course, AI itself, the organization has to reinvent themselves from like three angles. Is the technology side, the talent, and the organizational capabilities. What's your view, Laurențiu? Where are we today in terms of people skills? Can we handle such a technology with the existing workforce? And the same question for you, Remig.
Of course we can. The question is rather, as you asked, where are we? I think, as I was saying at the beginning, AI is picking up a lot of speed, by bringing together many elements. And I don't see it as much as a revolution, but rather as, as an evolution and as an explosion of all these things coming together. And when it comes to readiness, I think it's a quite typical adoption topic that we have to handle on the business side. I think, embracing and accelerating and adopting AI is more linked to people being ready for it, to processes being adjusted in the organization, to regulatory and governance being ready to do it. And from that perspective, again, we don't have to invent the wheel to achieve this readiness, but rather to apply, this is my view, to apply the good old, change management and change adoption and, transition that we've been doing in many businesses, in many business areas for so many years. And again, this, of course, contains an element of training, upskilling, and actually refreshing skills of the workforce, of the people, of the employees. But equally important, it should address the other elements of, again, changing the processes, changing the decision-making, and changing the way the business works, the way the processes are organized.
Thank you, Laurențiu. Remig, do you have the right skills and capability at SolarWinds to really handle this AI revolution?
I see it slightly differently, honestly speaking. I think this technology got some potential, to make the revolution. It doesn't make the revolution by itself, but it can help us, And why? Because it could give us, enormous productivity boost, I would say, from one perspective, so the company, let's say, perspective. From the people perspective, we could gain some, as I said, we would like to enrich life, so we would gain, for example, a piece of time for ourselves. Let's say that might be the outcome of it. But how to gain it? I see one generic issue, I would say. And that issue, which we're gonna be, like, it's related, with the data on which you may train the solution, yes? So it's a very simple rule. If you cover, with this solution, just a piece of your, environment, then the results gonna be related, on this piece of infra. That is one big, I would say, step we have to go through. Maybe to centralize decision about this. I truly believe that this is something we need, a centralized decision, due to the facts I've mentioned. Also, I see some kind of a very local value of this kind of implementation that is related to the fact that we Eastern Europeans are heavily influenced by the Westerners. Yes, and it's a very easy task for them to pull someone, you know, talented and everything. So that is related to what was said by Radek about the talents, for example. Yeah. So from this perspective, if we properly cover from the management side, the issue, so to say, the subject, we could use the technology to support us. Yes. In terms of these issues, I would mention this at first. We have to change, you know, the way we look at. We typically split things, like to make them easier, so to say. I would say with AI, because it's capable of completely different things, like it could recognize patterns which are basically not recognizable for human beings or very heavily recognizable. And for AI, it's just like, you know, ordinary task, I would say. We may have to, you know, like implement change of our thinking, you know, and let this solution be efficient, I would say, yeah, and properly use it how we should use it, you know, like not to copy paste our, let's say, errors from the past, like, you know, but maybe to take it and open ourselves for this, because as I said, it's not like in a typical business situation where the gains go to the companies, but this one also could help our lives.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Razvan, what excites you or scares you the most about AI? Can you give us one example on the good side and one that you still have on your mind and you have seen actually it's becoming a real issue within the industry you've been interacting with?
I will answer your question, but first I want to point out a bit something on what my colleagues have said, because I truly believe that implementing AI doesn't make a company AI capable. And AI is much more powerful than what we used to have, because you know, as it was said during the morning, so up until now you said to the platform or the application what they need to do and they did it. But now they might come with solutions, they might come with alternatives. So implementing AI across organization needs a proper governance and needs the proper governance starting now, because if we are to think of this after we're going to have in the organizations, many platforms, many applications, all of them with different solutions or different outcome, it might be too late. And maybe now is the time to think of, for example, who's going to lead the AI program in our organization. Are we going to talk about a chief AI officer? Are we going to which is going to respond to chief executive officer or to the CEO officer, CEO? What model are we going to implement in the organization?
Yeah, that's the governance that Laurent you also
the governance, but it's how you do it. You do it centralized. How you develop the AI across organization? Do you do it centralized across all functions or business, or you create small teams in various locations, various functions, and various organization, or you do it a hybrid model? It comes with pluses and minuses. It comes with investments, and it comes with a different strategy. So, and then comes the problem of monitoring. How you monitor this? What is the setup to monitor the outcome and the development of these solutions? And to answer to your question, so what scares me at the first point, it will be this, that we are, so there are a lot of challenges that we have. We are rushing and are looking at the only point in time how an AI could solve a problem, an immediate, short-term problem, but the implications are for medium, for long-term, because these solutions are here to last. And as we do them more thoroughly and more with the medium to long-term view, we're going to benefit out of them. And what I appreciated this is basically this advantage and this immense opportunities to further develop and to further develop with the humans. Doesn't mean AI that is going to exclude the humans, but there are immense opportunities in each of these applications that can create opportunities for humans as well. So I think this this is something very exciting, and I think we are living on good moments, because no, the ideas, they were here for 20 years ago, technology for 10 years ago, but they only started to be implemented, or actually made it scalable 5 years ago. So.
Thank you, Răzvan. Yuria, my question to you is more related actually to the education towards AI. What will be your advice for the CIOs in the room and the ones which are also watching us online? Are we in the driving seat to start talking more about AI within our organization, explaining to all the employees how do they have to use their data, how precautious they have to be? What's your view? Are we there from an education perspective, or still a long way to go?
Of course, there is still work to do, because I think I see it from two ways. From one perspective, of course, you as an organization must explain to your own employees how they have to deal with AI systems, how to interact, how to use it. And on the other hand, you have to train your own employees how to transmit this information to users. So on the one hand, you have to explain to your own employees, and then those employees have to provide the information forward, because as I previously said, you have transparency obligations. You have a transparency obligations deriving from data protection legislation, but you also have transparency obligations deriving from the new AI regulation, which is now currently in the course of adoption. So the companies will have to communicate more in order to make people understand how their data are used on one hand, and how the system, the AI system, impacts the individuals, the users. So all these information must be provided in a way which is clear. And if that person does not understand sufficiently well how the system affects him or her, he or she may come to the company and ask additional information. And the people from organization must be able to explain. And of course, we have those situations when even the companies cannot fully understand the modality in which the system works, the black box. So you have to make sure that the information is delivered in a meaningful way.
Thank you very much. I think the discussion on AI can go for hours. We don't have enough time today to actually tackle all the topics that these new technologies is bringing. In the closure of our panel, I would like to ask each of you for a sort of a piece of advice, a takeaway for all the colleagues in the IT community present here today on AI. What are the main kind of takeaways that I need to learn out of today? What do I need to pay more attention to? What's your piece of advice for them concerning AI? Very short, please. Laurențiu, please.
For me, the key message is, and mainly, for the CIOs, as we are all CIOs here, the key messages would be three. AI is a business IT topic. AI does have a cost, by the way, and we need to create the custom-built business case, the custom-built use case for our business, for our specific situation, so that we can understand how we position it. So I think, with these three elements in mind, and with the desire to still to be in the driver's seat and to drive the AI agenda of your company, I think this is, for me, the most important at this point.
Thank you. Răzvan?
I was hoping it could go on the other way, but
I can start if you want.
No, I'm okay. So I think I'm the governance guy in the panel. So I'm going to insist on the ethics and responsible AI, which I truly believe it's very important at this stage. And we have seen the effects of using AI in a very discretionary manner, and we know the scandals of the stealing of data, Trump elections, and so on and so forth. And I truly believe this is the moment when we have the applications, when we know it is possible now after 20 years, to channel them in the right direction, to make them ethical, because we've seen there are a lot of biases, not because of the applications, because of the humans, because the application is not about data. They are not in itself, they are not biased. We make them as such. That's why it's in our power to design them, to train our people, to develop the solutions in an ethical and a responsible way. And I would add also sustainable, because we live in a sustainable world, or at least we want to live in a sustainable world. And if we want to implement AI at the same time, those two apparently, at least at this moment, they don't go hand in hand. So we need to be careful on that.
Thank you, Răzvan. Remi.
Thank you. I'm going to say with a statement that we are the company not delivering AI on a generic purpose, for building, I don't know, generic solutions. We are in a very tight space. Even if this space is broad and important, it's very specialized. So that is my first comment, which I would like to say. It's different than generic AI. That is first. Second, which I want to say for CIOs, that technology already exists. Okay? You could do this kind of things. That's what I wanted to say. It's just a matter of look at it, maybe from the slightly different perspective, but you've got a tool which could help the productivity from the company perspective, but from your team perspective or the talent management perspective, or even wider knowledge management, let's say within the company, that technology already exists. That's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I will present the things from the legal perspective, and I would like to point out that there is a AI regulation which is currently negotiated. It is currently in the trialogue phase, so the Commission, European Commission, European Council, and the European Parliament are now discussing to finalize the document, and hopefully they will reach to a conclusion and will adopt the document in the first part of the next year. And the companies will have 2 years or 1.5 years, depending on the version, to implement everything, because the document will become applicable sometime in 2026. And it's not enough time, because we know from the previous experience of GDPR, when it became, it was enforced in 2016, and the company said, okay, we have 2 years before it becomes applicable. It wasn't enough time, because in 2019, when GDPR became applicable, the market was not ready. So I expect that the same thing will happen with the AI regulations, because there are a lot of rules which have to be complied with, and the companies must, first of all, map all the areas where they have AI systems and to ensure that they are complied with.
Thank you. Emilia, you got enough time now to think
Yes,
even more
last
examples.
but not least, I think I'm going to have, a very googly advice. And what I would like to leave with the room is just, be open-minded and take everything with a pinch of salt. And when I'm saying this, I just want to give a piece of advice. Don't think about AI through the lens of a science fiction Hollywood movie, in which AI means that someday in the future, robots will outthink us, will outsmart us, and then we will have a war with cyborgs. It's not like that. I think the main scope of AI is just for humans to be more efficient and at the end of the day, just make our life easier.
I would also add that we need to bear in mind that there are still so many benefits that we can benefit as a society from an enhanced healthcare, an improved education, I don't know, even more increased creativity. We should be open-minded enough to actually foresee also these benefits, but indeed treat this technology carefully, respecting the laws in place, and actually manage to drive the best out of it rather than always looking at the risk. I think you are all equipped now to go back to your offices, write your AI strategy. You've got the legal, the governance, the people, the technology side. It was a very nice and interesting discussion, and I'd really like to thank all the panelists for their contribution. And if there are any questions from the audience before we wrap up the panel. Seems to be all clear. Thank you very much for your attention, and thanks to all of you for your contribution. Big round of applause.
Da, mulțumesc foarte mult, Andreea, excelentă moderare și mă bucur că ai fost astăzi alături de noi și am reușit să mai balansăm un pic din gender, diversity și vom continua foarte puternic pe gender diversity pentru că următorul nostru speaker înainte de pauză este una dintre membrele noastre al Asociației CIO Council extraordinar de cum să spun, care muncește foarte mult, care are foarte multe rezultate practice, care prezintă efectiv din portofoliul propriu de proiecte, să spunem așa, și îmi face o mare plăcere să o invit alături de noi pe colega noastră Gabriela Stănică, bine ai venit alături de noi, care va dezbate realmente dacă Artificial Intelligence va dezbate despre miturile și realitățile AI și despre aplicabilitatea în retail. Mulțumim foarte mult, Gabi.
If you allow me, Hugo, I will speak in English. Good morning, everyone. Very happy to be here today. First time for me in BNR, second time on the stage of the CIO Council. Thank you for the invitation. So today I will be speaking about AI and Gen AI in retail. Do we use it? Does it help us? If yes, how? So first I decided to speak about numbers. I heard a lot about the benefit in the business, right? That's the most important, the benefit in the business. So if we look at AI in the retail market globally, in 2022 was estimated at $6 billion USD. And it's estimated to grow approximately 30% on a yearly basis and to reach over 100 billion USD by 2032. It's huge numbers. Moving forward, generative AI. I will speak a bit about my beliefs about generative AI today. But before, I wanted to share with you a recent McKinsey study, which is very interesting and very powerful, right? And it says that Gen AI has the potential to impact the productivity in retail in between 1.2 and 2% out of the total revenue, which actually translates into benefits of almost 400 billion USD globally. Huge numbers. Let's deep dive a bit on the AI in retail. For us, it's clear that AI in retail, it brought an innovation, a technological innovation. Global retail industry is complex, right? It was disrupted, continues to be disrupted, and is one of the most dynamic and unpredictable. Why? Various factors. It started with COVID, post-COVID, inflation, customers' preferences are changing, and so on and so forth. And very interestingly, globally, retail produced over 4,000 exabytes data per year. And this number is growing exponentially, minute by minute. Imagine in retail, and I see here also George, every store open, every product added to the shelf, every provider that is selling through Carrefour brings additional complexity, additional data. So the challenge is, how do we overpass this complexity and how do we take value out of data with AI? It's a huge challenge, right? What we noticed over the last couple of years, and I will speak today about two concrete examples in Carrefour Romania with AI bringing benefits, we noticed that artificial intelligence can and has the power to change retail in an intelligent way. So if we look across the whole chain in retail, right, artificial intelligence has solutions and impact in every single step, from customer acquisition and interaction with the customers. We speak a lot and for many years about personalized promotions. That's not a news anymore. We speak about chatbots, and we speak about listening to our customers in real time. Then if we go into the store operations, some cases of the artificial intelligence are in the fraud detection. And today I'll speak a bit about what do we do about fraud detection with AI. Then merchandise and assortment. In merchandise and assortment, I said this a lot, we have over 50,000 SKUs. We have different formats in the stores. We have different customers, different regions in the market, right? How do we make sure we have the right price and the right assortment in every single store format? Imagine that cannot be done manually anymore on Excel, right? We need powerful tools. We need artificial intelligence or it can, but it takes thousands of people in the office, right? Which we don't really afford because we have to be efficient. Then if we go into the logistics and fulfillment, with over 400 stores, with our own logistic warehouses and chain, right? We have to be efficient. We have to be able to provide the vegetables, fresh vegetables in the stores every morning. And we have to make sure we do not waste those products, right? Those are sold, are in the right quantity so that we do not waste the food. So let's speak about two concrete business cases with AI in Carrefour Romania. So how do we drive value through AI in Carrefour? And Laurențiu mentioned about the need on the business side, right? How did we start and why did we want to implement this solution? Well, there were a couple of questions at the top management, by the way. We do not have anyone in Carrefour who is responsible with AI. We have people who recognize the business problem, the need, and then we work together to identify what could be the solution to help them, right? So there were questions. How do we engage with our customers in real time when they need us? Can we understand how they feel about the brand? Can we react fastly to their comments across the social media? And more importantly, when they speak on social media, do we understand the context? Can we understand patterns? Can we understand emerging topics, emerging needs, or even crises with some solutions? And the answer was yes, we can. We can with social listening and community management, which is an AI-driven solution. What do we do with it, right? And here, probably the ones which are familiar will also recognize the technology, but that's not the point today, right? We can listen and we can understand what the customers are speaking about on all the social media. We do not need an army of people in the customer service to react to those cases. This is linked with the CRM, and the customer agents are reacting in real time with our customers' interactions. And we can also measure the emotional, what did I do? Okay. We can also measure how do they feel about Carrefour? How do they engage with us? Are they happy? Are they sad? Are they, how are they, right? You see here, and I intentionally marked with white the name of our competitors, right? We can also see how do they feel about us on certain topics versus the competitors. I left Carrefour Romania, of course, because we have some positive mentions about some topic, but then at the bottom, those are our competitors. And we can see real time what's happening on the social media and react. This solution is live in Carrefour Romania for a while. We are again in the group, the first country to have such a solution, and the other countries are following. And that's because I have a strong team, of course, part of which is here with me today. Thank you, guys. Next one. Next real case about using artificial intelligence to drive value in retail. The second business question. Actually, I wanted to ask you, anyone knows what that is in the room? George Faur for sure. And my team is actually a self-checkout, right? It's the self-checkout that you see in the store and you probably use. So the reality is, despite of the discussions that why retailers are putting self-checkout and so on, the reality is that self-checkout are used by the customers. They like shopping in the self-checkout. They like the frictionless interaction with the self-checkout, and it's easy to use, right? On the retailer side, that comes with risks. The fraud can increase at the self-checkout, right? You can easily go there and say, not scan intentionally or unintentionally. You can do it. The fraud risk for retailers is big with the self-checkout. So we had a lot of discussions, I think it was 1.5 years ago, with our security, with our top management. What do we do about it, right? We had a couple of options. Not to put self-checkout or to destroy, let's say, the experience of the customer in the self-checkout, to make them measure, to make them put the product on the weight and so on and so forth, or find a different solution. Also, as you probably know, once you are on the self-checkout, the chances for a security agent to stop you are quite high, and you don't necessarily want that, right? To open up the bag and show and so on and so forth. So those interactions could be unpleasant and could be difficult, right, for us. So do we have a solution for that in Carrefour Romania now? Yes, we do have. We are using visual AI that detects currently both intentional and unintentional scam, because not everyone, it's badly intended, but maybe you forget a product on the basket, maybe you don't scan it, maybe the system doesn't work, whatever the cases are. So if you want to try it, you are invited in the Carrefour stores. We are rolling this out at scale right now. We had a period in which we trained the algorithm for a couple of months in all of the stores. So what happens? You go there, you do an on-scan, right? We can see there is an on-scan with the visual AI, and based on the gestures that customer is doing, we put an alert to the customer saying, are you sure you scanned your product, right? So we want to help, we want to drive the customer to scan correctly, right? Because as I said, some don't necessarily want to steal, they just don't do it, right? And then if at the second scan you continue the behavior, the self-checkout is gonna be blocked, and then someone from the store will come and help you, right? If you really want to see what happened, right, we can replay the GIF and you can see that you didn't scan the product, right? So there is no big debates between the security agents and so on. Very big impact and very supportive to the business, right? It was driven by security, by IT, a lot of investment in the network because we need real-time response from the server side and so on and so forth. But we did it, it's live, it brings value, and we are scaling it and we are rolling it out pretty quickly, I would say. Now, I could speak about more use cases in Carrefour Romania with using AI, but I think we don't have the time. We have AI for price, for markdown, for promotion. We have AI for demand planning, and so on and so forth. I think for the sake of time, I wanted to discuss with you a bit about generative AI in retail, which is a new topic for us. And I mentioned at the beginning, what is the value estimated by McKinsey that could bring? Of course, we cannot ignore this number, right? So we started to look into and see how it can help retail. Let me start by saying first that I'm not an expert on this topic, right? I'm probably as fascinated as you all are about generative AI. And we all know and we recognize this technology is at the hype. I saw Gartner at the beginning, generative AI, it's clearly there on the top of the curve. Now, everyone is talking about it. Companies, including Carrefour, are looking at it. But additionally, companies started to question some of the ethical aspects of generative AI, including Carrefour, including Gen Z developers about the cost and so on and so forth. I think trust, it's still something that we have to manage together and understand a bit more. Personally, I'm quite scared about the fact that with only 3 seconds of voice, someone can clone your voice, right? So imagine you get a call and your child is in distress and someone is asking for money. What would you do? It's scary, right? For me, at least, it's scary, and I think for all the parents. And this is happening now, and it can be done, and we need to pay attention to the trust issues, right? However, we cannot deny the speed of adoption and what's happening lately. I found this graph very interesting, right? And probably you know it, but I wanted to put it here because I find it very powerful. ChatGPT, it took 2 months to reach 100 million unique users. If we put those things in perspective, right? To Instagram, it took 2.5 years. And if we look at Netflix, it took 18 years. So the speed of adoption is huge. And things are moving really fast. Now, beyond numbers, I saw Amazon earlier and so on and so forth. I just wanted to put those three things here because they are recent and it proves clearly what's happening and how fast it's happening on the Gen AI. Alexa, right, becomes more intelligent. They do have Gen AI capabilities and will be more intuitional. I don't find the right English word, right? But it's gonna be more smart when you interact with it. Then in October, I think, DALL-E 3 was launched. Also Google, our partners from Google, they launched Gemini. I think it's less than 1 month ago. And Gemini is multimodal, right? It's gonna be able to generate and process multiple type of data, 3D, video, text, voice, and so on and so forth. All of this just in a couple of months. So maybe now the $1 million question for retail and for all of us, right? What will be the impact of this? Will it be revolutionary? Will it be transformational? What it will happen? Well, in Carrefour, the true answer is we don't know. We are listening to experts, we are listening to private equity firms, we participate in a lot of conferences, right? And what do they say? They say it will be, but not alone. Gen AI, together with robotics, together with 5G, together with blockchain technologies, could be revolutionary. So imagine, a bit to earth, let's say, in Carrefour, if we combine Gen AI with virtual reality, you go into a store, you want to buy a TV, right? And we have a virtual agent that goes with you in the store and it's able to answer all the questions you might have and guide you through the purchasing journey. It could be quite powerful, right? Especially that today in the stores, let's be honest, it's hard to find someone that can explain you about that specific TV. It could be quite powerful and revolutionary. But now, in Carrefour, do we believe in it? Honestly, as I said, we are paying attention to it. We are experimenting. And I just wanted to share with you this fact, right? That our global CTO launched a Gen AI community in Carrefour. So we speak about it a lot. Everyone can join and learn. And we work together to experiment. We also know by speaking with our suppliers, with our partners, that Gen AI could help particularly in the field of sales, customer service, and marketing. It can provide productivity, it can change a lot the way we work, right? And probably you know, it's seen by some specialists as powerful as the introduction of internet or the iPhone was, right? It could be combined with other technology, a new industrial revolution. Let's see. So this is gonna be my last slide, just because I promised we're gonna tell you practically what we do with Gen AI at Carrefour, beside the community, right? We are working with our partners, and actually that was made publicly available in June. We already have 2 use cases with Gen AI in partnership with our partners from Google and so on and so forth. They are now live in France, not yet in Romania, probably soon, we'll see after it's trained and we learn more. There is a robot for shopping that accompany you on the website of Carrefour and can guide you through what is it that you can buy based on a budget you have, based on some specific allergies or whatever things you have. It's a human-like interaction and it helps you to pick the right product. Second one, and of course that helps on increasing the revenue, right? And it helps with the customer interaction and it gives personalized promotion. So a lot in this solution. And second one, and the last one, it's a Gen AI powered marketing studio. Probably you know that to generate a marketing campaign, currently it takes between 4 and 6 weeks, right? With this solution that we are experimenting right now, by knowing what was in the past, what's the brief for the next one, what is it that we want to achieve, it can be done in minutes. It's super powerful. We are testing it, learning it, and for sure it's gonna bring a lot of business value. So I think I'm close to my time. Thank you very much. And I'm taking for questions.
Thank you very much, Gabriela. Absolutely. Well, absolutely amazing. So honestly, I'm impressed about what you've done in Carrefour, and it's really amazing to see that artificial intelligence is really applied in business. So you're performing the sentiment analysis, which is absolutely astonishing. There are a lot of capabilities here. You have also visual. So if I want to steal something from Carrefour by mistake or maliciously,
you'll be gently notified first.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And also you got into the Gen AI. Absolutely astonishing. There is a question from the audience. Who is actually in control of developing of AI? I would imagine that this is probably, is it the business, is it the IT?
Well, I like to say that there is no business or IT. I personally was hired as a CIO, and then I took over the e-commerce business. So we are working very closely together. It's a combination, right? Business expresses what is the problem, and then they work with us closely to select the technology. And to be honest, I don't even know if they know it's AI behind, right? Some of them do. Some of them, they just enjoy the outcome and they're amazed by how fast they can make decisions based on those tools, or how much the help from those solutions can be seen in the bottom line, so to speak.
Thank you.
I have a question regarding stock management and pricing. Are the results provided by AI better than the results provided by the traditional algorithms?
So I will start with the pricing, which is of course a very sensitive topic, right? Yes, we are working with AI currently. It's not deployed at scale. It's almost there. So yes, we are working with AI to define the best price for the customer, and also in line with what the company wants to achieve, right? Being that price image, revenue, so sales on volumes, and so on. And on the stock side, yes, we do have a solution for the demand planning and automatic replenishment from the warehouse to the stores to make sure we have the right number of products delivered at the right time in the right store.
Gabriela Stănică, mulțumesc foarte mult. Thank you very much, CIO Carrefour. Mulțumesc foarte mult. Suntem într-o ușoară întârziere, adică destul de mare ca de obicei. Vă invit în pauză. O să vă rog să revenim cel târziu la 12:10, pentru că l-avem pe domnul Dan Câmpean de la DNSC, care are o foarte strictă limitare, trebuie să ajungă la guvern. As a consequence, în consecință, mă aștept să reveniți un pic mai devreme. Mulțumesc foarte mult. Și încă o singură informație, toată lumea este așteptată, nu știu dacă s-a comunicat eficient, de la ora 5 la cocktailul pe care CIO Council organizează la barul Altfel de la strada Smurdan 29, dacă nu mă înșel, 3 minute de aici. Mulțumesc!